Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week number 10. So now we're in the double digits. We are moving right along through this semester. This week, only one thing to read. It's a few pages long. It's a decently long short story, but it's The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling. And what I really want you to look at when you read this is think about how Daniel and Peachy, the two main characters of the story, um, how they go about forming their own little empire in some faraway country near what would today be Afghanistan. So, and think about how when they conquer this little area of the world by overcoming troops, basically using firearms and making them think that they're gods and making them think that they are kings, and then they use the one village to conquer the next village, and then they use that village to conquer the next village. Then they train them in military maneuvers and all of this stuff. Think about how all of that works so that you can compare that to what England might have done. Because England actually conquered India. In fact, India was the crown jewel of the English Empire during the latter part of Queen Victoria's reign. And what Daniel and Peachy do here looks an awful lot like what the British military did in order to overcome the great Indian subcontinent, because it's a large piece of land and it had a lot of warring tribes in it. And England had to reconcile all of those to make one India. And that's what Daniel and Peachy do in The Man Who Would Be King. Also, think about this. When Peachy tells his story, he's going to have just gone through some very traumatic experiences. And his mind is going to be a little off. So there will be times when what he's saying doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That was by design. Because here's a guy who, by the time he tells this story, and I won't ruin the ending for you, but you will understand why his mind kind of wanders and why it doesn't follow logic. And if you would have gone through everything that Peachy had gone through, your mind might be a little damaged too. So, think about that. The other thing to do this week, and I would do this after reading The Man Who Would Be King. In fact, I'm probably going to shut this down for a day or so while I go through and make sure that all the questions are correct, is you do have your Victorian exam this week. It'll be just like before. I'm going to go ahead at some point and mail you or email you a study guide so you'll know what to expect on it. It'll be open book since I can't really be there while you're taking the exam. I'm not going to travel to your house and look over your shoulder. So you can pretty much do it open book. So you should do well on this exam. But make sure that you get that exam done by next, I think I've got it Sunday night. So make sure that you get that taken as well so that you will be completed with that. And hopefully, if you've not been doing very well on these postings, this exam on the Victorian will raise your grade a little bit, because these exams are worth 15% of your grade each. So take the time to go through it. You'll have I think it's a 2-hour window. So go through it, take your time, get all the questions right that you can, and see if you can get that grade up. So this week it's The Man Who Would Be King, and then it's an exam on the Victorian period. And yeah, we're cruising right along through this semester. So I hope you're enjoying the readings so far. I hope that these postings are making you think deeply about these readings. And remember, these postings are kind of a dry run, if you will, for the research paper. And we're only a couple of weeks away from that. So I think it's 2 weeks, or it could be 3 weeks. I'd have to look at the schedule. But we're not very far off from starting that research paper. So think about what you want to do that on as well. What have you read this semester that you really, really liked enough that you want to spend about 4 weeks or so writing a paper on it? And that'll be your research topic. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to call me, feel free to email me, as always, and have fun with Kipling this week.